I'm here with the Associate Athletic Trainer at Old Dominion University, Scott Johnson. Now, Scott, I'm just going to ask you a couple basic questions. What is the most common injury seen in the athletic training room?
That's a pretty good question, and I really think it depends on the sport you're playing. Take a sport like basketball, you're going to see a lot of ankle sprains and maybe some knee injuries, whereas a sport like tennis, you might see some shoulder injuries and some overuse stuff like that. In football, you're going to have a lot of contact injuries. So, it really depends on the sport, but on the average, I would say ankle sprains and things like that are probably the most common that we see over all the sports.
Now, out of all the teams, what team do you feel is the most accident prone?
Wow, that's a good question. We always kid the swimmers. We say that they're not allowed to get out of the pool because it seems like most of their injuries happen when they're not in the pool. But we've had quite a few accidents. It doesn't really matter what team it is. We've had some very unique injuries where you just kind of look at the athlete and say, what? It really happened that way? So, I don't know. I guess each sport has their own special qualities in that sense. So.
And if you had to put we won't say put a number on it, but do you think majority of injuries that you see come in, are they first-time injuries or are they re-injuries of a previous one?
Yeah, that's another good question. Most of them that we see here are fairly new injuries. If we do have an athlete with an injury that happened before they got here, we usually take all the necessary precautions to try and prevent something from happening over and over again. So, taping, rehabilitation, things like that, those are things that we would do in that situation. But I would say most of them are new injuries.
Okay, and I'm not going to call it baby, but out of all the teams, which team do you think is the most sensitive to their injuries?
Oh, boy. Let me put it this way. Each team has some players that would be more sensitive than others. I like to call it, each team has athletes that seem to be a lot tougher than other athletes on the team. So we look at more of the positive than the negative in that way.
All right, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.